Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. This little essay is The Anti-White and Anti-Asian Male Era. I have tried to repress that unproductive thought that this is the anti-white and anti-Asian male era, but I couldn't. It started as I was playing with two of the AI generative arts leading engines, Google's ImixFX and Canva's Magic Studio. Every person that got generated was anything but a white or Asian male, unless I specifically said white or Asian male. That reminded me that whenever I search Google images, if it's for a positive character, for example a scientist, most of the images are female or BIPOC, that is black and indigenous people of color, usually both. If it's a negative character, for example sleazy salesperson, it's almost always a white male. I turned to selecting the voice for the audiobook from my recently Amazon-published book, How to Do Life. The default was a minority woman. I had to mechanically change it to change from that, even though I'm obviously not a woman. That reminded me that that was the same for all my Amazon-published books. And that in turn reminded me that the news media, entertainment media, and even advertisements usually omit or disproportionately portray Asian and especially white males negatively, especially if they're successful, but not if they're creative perhaps, like an artist or musician. If it's a BIPOC, especially a BIPOC woman, it's almost always a positive character. In turn, that reminded me that in any Google search, including text, white and Asian males are usually back of the bus compared with women, especially BIPOCs. Is this inadvertent? Well, in a recent interview with Silicon Valley legend Marc Andreessen, Free Press's Barry Rice she asked whether the bias is intentional, and here is his answer. It's, quote, "At these big companies, there's been absolute intentionality. That's how you get Black George Washington at Google, because there's an override in the system that basically says everyone has to be black. Boom. There are large sets of people in these companies that determine these policies and write them down and encode them into these systems. So overwhelmingly, what people experience is intentional. There's just no question about that. These companies were born woke. They were born as censorship machines. My concern is that the censorship and political control of AI is 1,000 times more dangerous than censorship and political control of social media, maybe 1,000,000 times more dangerous. Social media censorship and political control is very dangerous, but at least it's only people talking to each other and communicating. The thing with AI is that I think AI is going to be the control layer for everything in the future. How the healthcare system works, how the education system works, how the government works. So if AI is woke, biased, censored, politically controlled, you're in a hyper-Orwellian China-style nightmare. This hasn't rolled out all the way yet because AI is still new and not in charge yet, but this is where things are headed. It's vitally important that this does not happen. My hope is that the culture changes and that this all gets peeled back and thrown out into the sunlight, and that people come to understand this and don't stand for it. But this has to be fought. This will happen by default unless people fight it. Anyway, that was the quote unedited from Silicon Valley legend Marc Andreessen in a recent Free Press interview. Now I'll continue with my own words. I worry that people will not fight this. Most people are unaware of it or have been brainwashed that Asian and especially white males deserve to be biased against and, for example, must, quote, surrender their privilege. I fear that the anti-Asian and especially anti-white male bias will continue to accelerate. Given the woke left's takeover of society's mind molders, the schools, the colleges, and the media, I cannot conceive of a realistic scenario where this will change. This is not a pendulum. It's a trend. In any event, that essay is called The Anti-White and Anti-Asian Male Era. As usual, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel, and certainly would welcome you taking a look at any of my 34 books. Perhaps the one most relevant to this is A Dose of Reality, but all 34 are on Amazon. In any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.